Got to get myself all set up here. I can't stay behind this thing. I feel like I'm for sale. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. It's so nice to be back here again. I do love this community. And I love your month's theme, affirming faith and inner wisdom. Because by talking with all of you about this, I remind myself of what it takes to be just that, affirming my faith in myself. And I chose the title, Stepping Up and Stepping Out, because I see it as a dare. Now, I'm not talking about stepping up on stage. We can all be performers, or most of us can. But the key word here is performance, and I'm talking about a whole different matter when it comes to stepping in truth and stepping out as me, standing only in my truth, not performing for anyone or anything. So, do I dare trust my capital S self so completely that I don't even need confidence? Do I dare trust my inner wisdom? To begin, I'm going to read a very short but very lovely poem by a poet called Denise Levertov. Oh, I hear a lot of recognition going on there. As swimmers dare to lie face to the sky, and water bears them. As hawks rest upon air, and air sustains them. So I would learn to attain free fall and float into Creator Spirit's deep embrace, knowing no effort earns that all-surrounding grace. For me, that's the whole sermon today. Yeah, learning how to attain free fall. What a word that is and what it implies. I have never done a parachute jump or even a bungee jump, but I admire people who do. You know, and I think, thinking about jumping, that everyone here and everyone watching today, you've all heard that saying, leap and the net will appear. Yes? All right. Today, as we look at stepping up and stepping out, I would like to suggest to you that you don't need a net. For as Denise Levertov suspects and says, free fall is simply how we float into God's embrace and support. And you can substitute the word faith for free fall. Faith is how we float into God's embrace and rely upon God's support. Our inner wisdom, often called intuition, is a divine operating system nesting in our human senses. In fact, William Wordsworth said that faith is a passionate intuition. I say that intuition is like our sense of sight, but it is seeing with the soul instead of the eyes and the intellect. Now, I would bet that everyone here and everyone watching today has had two distinct experiences when it comes to intuition. One experience is when you trusted and you followed your intuition, that small voice of wisdom tugging at you. And you dared to heed its call. And you stepped into something wonderful that was waiting for you, hidden around the curve in your journey of life. And it felt pretty great, didn't it? The other experience I think we've all had is this. That time, or times, there could have been more than one, when you didn't trust that little voice, right? And you held back, and you chose the safer, more comfortable path, only to find yourself in some miserable dead end. How did that feel? So, it's normal. It's a normal human response, though, to fear the unknown. Many of us, maybe all of us at one time or another, prefer to stay comfortably in our pain and our discomfort because it's familiar, rather than risk stepping out and being that which we are called to be in this life. We choose the devil we know instead of the angel that we can't see. Joseph Campbell famously said, "We must be willing to let go of the life we had planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us." And I sometimes think we amuse our Creator with our human perversity in this matter. Our reluctance to let go and step out even plays out in the silliest, most mundane things of our everyday life. Now, for example, I'd like you to picture this all too real scenario. And when I say real, I mean I did it. I really did it. Okay. This is going to take a little bit of acting. I'm home from the market, and I'm carrying in a bag of groceries in one hand and my mail in the other. I get to my front door, and I'm trying to unlock and open it without dropping all of my precious stuff. The keys in my fingers don't work because I'm trying to, keep the bag and the mail safe. So I stand there fumbling and straining, only to have the bag drop, fall, all the eggs break, and the door is still locked. I say a not so mild expletive, and I have to start over and clean up a big mess as well. Now, it seems like such a small thing and a funny thing in retrospect. At the time, it wasn't funny at all. I mean, that expletive was heartfelt. But later, I read something from Mark Nepo that brought my silly predicament into a whole new light. And this is what he wrote. It's such a simple thing. But in a moment of ego, we refuse to put down that which we carry in order to open the door. We cannot hold on to things and enter. I guess Mark Nepo and Joseph Campbell are trying to tell us the same thing. The smart thing is to trust that inner wisdom enough to let go and leap. Now, as New Thought spiritual seekers and followers, we do believe that we are one with God, that we are individualized expressions of God. Yes? And if that is true, then here is the question. How could spirit not support itself as you, or as me, or as you? It can't not. It doesn't make any sense. Spirit supports its own expression because it is already complete, whole, and perfect. So how do we choose then to express God in our lives, in our world? When I am unwilling to dare, to risk, to leap, I am expressing a really small and petty God indeed. A little God like that. All of my words about trusting in God's will for my own good, I mean, that's just hot air because I am not walking my talk. And walking our talk, yes, is not always easy. Instead of stepping up and stepping out, risking judgment from others, risking looking foolish, risking look like we're wrong. We choose that easier path, that safer path, that smaller path that doesn't ask us to grow or stretch or to open our hearts, our minds, and our imaginations to a grander and higher possibility. Now, again, before we get into judging ourselves for this, as I said, let's remember that this is a normal human response. Human response. No one is above it. Not gurus, not budding Buddhas, not even us. We hear. Life is a learning process. It is not a test with pass-fail scores. So, and as I pointed out earlier, everyone here has listened to their inner wisdom in the past. You've taken a chance. You stepped out maybe lots of times. And so for just a few moments, for you here and for those of you who are watching on Zoom, if you're comfortable, I'd like to do a little bit of time travel with you. Just a small and very short meditation. And so in this moment, I'm going to ask you, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes. If not, simply do what it takes for you to go within. To breathe easily, to sense your inner vastness. And in this eternal now, there is no such thing as time. And I'm going to ask you then to float above time and bring yourself back. Back. Back through what we call years. To a time perhaps when you were in high school, a teenager. Oh, full of hormones and energy. Full of visions and ideas. Remember who you were. Feel your youth in your body. What new ideas about your life started showing up for you at this time? And all of your vitality and your youthful idealism? What future did you see for yourself back then? Now bless yourself as a teenager, and then let's move up again into that wonderful area where we can time travel, the river of eternal now. And now place yourself in college or in training or the military or whatever situations you were in as a young adult just getting started. When you were in your 20s. You're different. How do you see your life unfolding then? What goals were you beginning to set for yourself as a young adult? Adventure, marriage, children, careers. As a young adult, what did you risk? Let the memory embed itself in you and bless it. Once again, we lift up and we drift. And now place yourself in your 30s and 40s as a mature adult, established. Look around you at this age and see how much you have changed. Look back and see how many times you chose a different path. Now let's bring ourselves all back to the present. This now, this place. And allow yourself to re-inhabit your body as you are now. And open your eyes. And come back. Now in this looking back, this little meditation, you might see that your current safe boundaries or once unknown frontiers. I'm going to say that again. Your current safe boundaries were once unknown frontiers. You see? You have been on a soul journey, listening to your inner wisdom since you arrived in this lifetime and took your first breath. And over the years, we've all gained skills and talents and abilities that others need. As we consider now moving into that scary unknown, what do we bring with us that we have gained over the years and now are willing to share? What gifts are we giving because we have listened to our truth? And over the years, as you look back, I know that we have all gained beliefs and ideas that no longer serve us. So what are we willing to leave behind? What are we willing to give up in order to be happy? These kinds of questions help us make intelligent, loving choices instead of knee-jerk reactions. And they help us open to our deepest, our highest, and our truest selves, where our inner wisdom is just waiting to embrace us. That place where we are one with the infinite wisdom of the universe. This morning, I hope to convince you to leap without expecting a net. You have been cast to play a part in a divine pattern, As I said, since your first breath, you, me, everybody. Our souls continually call to us to let it show up and to show out in the world. That's what I mean by stepping up and stepping out. And our souls speak to us through intuition, sometimes with words, but most often with inchoate feelings, urges that we can't exactly identify, but we have to trust. Forget all that hiding your light under a bushel stuff when the soul calls. I don't even know what a bushel is, frankly, but I wouldn't want to hide under one anymore. I'm done. Okay. So, if you were living your life fully, what would you be doing? And if you aren't doing it, what is holding you back? Now, I know, again, how the world sends us lots of messages that tell us to stay in our own lane. Keep your head down. Don't rock the boat. don't speak up. And with early training like that, it's not difficult to understand why stepping up and stepping out doesn't always come easily, or even naturally. But luckily, the spiritual beliefs of New Thought lift us up and give us a different message. Our spiritual beliefs give us good tidings of great joy. Our teachings are a perfect roadmap for our awakening into a deep knowing that we are carried aloft on great winds across the sky. That we can let go of all the bags and baggage and open the door because it will open for us. Ernest Holmes, who founded religious science, says it very well. We must climb over the rocks of unbelief, pass around the barriers of doubt, and plunge into the stream of faith. When I read that, I feel myself kind of plunging into this glorious water that's cool and refreshing, and it's enervating. And isn't it wonderful that we don't have to do this by ourselves? You know, here at the Home of Truth, look around you. You've got an entire village of like-minded people who are willing to help you open those doors and to guide and encourage you and provide the spiritual practices and heart and love to give to you and then accept it back from you with gratitude. Stepping out is love. Stepping up is faith. And stepping back is fear. It's your choice. And it's good to remember that stepping up and stepping out doesn't always mean flinging yourself off a cliff into that unknown. But it is always about trusting God's love for itself as you enough to know that your good is there waiting for you. So, love greatly. Dare much. Fear not. And follow the call of your soul, knowing that the universe is just waiting to rush and place itself under your foot as you take that first step. No net required. And so it is. Blessed be.